And this is episode 3
Episode 3.
of the Evolv podcast.
It's on the wall.
It's right there.
That means it's live.
We are live and ready. You know what? This time, because we did have a few issues, especially in the first few episodes, with people walking in, people disturbing our time when we would create these podcasts. So I wrote up a piece of paper, A4 piece of paper that says, "We're on air, do not disturb."
Shows that we're fully ready and we're ready to go. So
Next time I'm putting a sock.
I reckon we just buy a padlock.
Padlocked,
Yeah,
fully locked
just
out.
fully lock them out.
We're in the podcast room. We're out.
Do not disturb. We got to get one of those like on air neon lights.
Oh yeah.
Put it in that corner right there, just so it fills it up. But yeah, welcome back. This is episode 3. So we're just gonna pretty much, similar to last episode, just talk about a whole bunch of random stuff, and we've got a whole bunch of themes that we're gonna roll with today. Brendon's gonna do some talking. I'm gonna do some talking. We're gonna ask some questions. We're gonna go back and forth, and we're gonna go from there. So so pretty much what we talked about in the previous episode is we spoke about our past. We spoke about a lot to do with nutrition, fitness, all that stuff. Yeah. And then towards the back end, we started talking about
mindset, mental health.
Spoke about a whole bunch of things.
We actually talked a bit about sport as well. I do want to touch on sport as well because we played our futsal game last night.
Oh,
actually.
Yes.
We went into the game thinking we only had one game, but we had 2 somehow. So they booked us in for 2 games back to back, double headers. The first game was against a team that was coming last, so we went in with high hopes. This is our second game of this season. We went in with high hopes thinking we were just going to smash them. We didn't really, we were up by 2 or 3. I think we beat them by 3 goals, something like that.
Yeah, it was 10-8 we won. I scored the last 2, just to get us over.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing special, but...
He scored the last 2, but he also did his groin,
so...
Worth
the injury.
I don't know if that's a win, you know. We're going to toss it up.
It was a win-loss.
But this episode, we're going to talk about the balancing act. We're going to talk a bit about fitness. Fitness. We're talking about fitness, a bit of business and how fitness and business can come together. Because I feel like there is a grey area between people that get into fitness for their job and not realising that it's actually their job and also a business at the same time. Because a lot of personal trainers, I feel like, get into industry just wanted to help people. It's pretty nice. It's cute. It's nice. But if you're just in it to help people, sometimes it doesn't actually reap the rewards enough for you to be in the industry for long enough.
You plateau very quickly. I think running your own business is great, but you need to obviously
have the skills to be able to build it.
Yeah, you've got to be able to know that you can handle what's coming, because that's what happened with myself. I've never run my own business before. I've never run my own name, my own brand. So when I started RDB at the beginning of January, so as soon as I left my previous job, I started straight away, and it was pretty much a roller coaster. I didn't know how to run myself. I didn't know how to structure myself. I didn't know how to put my foot down. I didn't know how to run a business. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, was learning about it. And then we went down the road of running our own business. So
we're running a team of 10
trainers now.
10 trainers and nutritionists. So we have definitely come a long way from not being unable to manage ourselves to managing a bigger team. And that's only growing over time. So we're 9 months in? January to
11 months.
November right now.
11 months.
January to November, whatever you want to call it, 10, 11.
Yeah.
Either way, welcome back to our podcast. Obviously, there are a lot of challenges when it comes to fitness and running a business. When you are running a business, I feel like we have gone through periods in our business journey where fitness has become a second priority. I've noticed that a lot more recently. Actually.
This week especially for you?
Yeah, this week especially for me. I think I've only trained once, and then that was futsal game last night.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you haven't been able to balance your fitness?
So what I've done is something that really helped me with my business life was creating a schedule. I went pretty crazy with that schedule. We both created schedules for each other. And that schedule started from like 6 in the morning until we made it until like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. If we didn't have clients, yeah.
Yeah, that's including clients, but also the management of the business as well. So we'd only finish work at 8. By the time I finished work at 8, I wanted to have some downtime with the family, have some dinner. By the time that's all done, it's like 9:30. I have to be in bed, ready for another day. And the only time that I could actually set myself to train was if I woke up at 4:30 to get a 45-minute session in and start my day again. And if I just missed that alarm clock or I was too tired from the previous day,
Take a back step.
yeah, I was just like, actually, you know what? I'm prioritizing my sleep today rather than training, and that would just mean I skip training for that day. That compounds over time because I didn't make it an important factor of my life. I've made my business life a lot more important to me than my training. Even though I am a personal trainer that should be able to balance that type of stuff, I teach people about this balance, but I can't create it myself. So one key ingredient that I'm going to change for the future is to make sure that I schedule an hour a day that I can never miss. And it's going to be in a time frame that I know I'm not going to be tired. It's going to be a time that I can always commit to. And I'm going to schedule it in the same way I schedule in this podcast or the same way I schedule in my sessions every single week at the same times. What about you?
It's a tough one because now running the business and obviously running our own business, so the balance is something that you have to obviously wrap your head around. With something so, would you call it diverse? You have to really know how to balance how to balance your lifestyle. Because there's obviously important things that are way more important than a
Your
business
work
or
life,
work or anything like that. So you have to like really dive in deep into your inner thoughts and go, okay,
What's important to me?
yeah, what the way I like to diverse it or digest group it, is you should have 5 important things in your life.
Oh,
And
I like it when you told me this one.
So you should have 5 important things in your life. Anything more than one hand of
Important things.
things, you sort of go a bit crazy. So I was actually watching a video this morning. I'm not too sure about his name, but he was setting himself and obviously his viewers goals for 2024. And one of them was simplify everything. So don't overcomplicate things in the new year. Simplify what you need to achieve and sort of just focus on those things as a whole. So the 5 main things that you should be focusing on are your family, your friends, your work, yourself, and then you can add one more if you want to. But anything more than 5, you get too congested in the.
Everyone's 5 is going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
And also you're going to
For sure.
prioritize certain parts of that 5 a bit differently to, your best mate, for example. Me and him have pretty similar 5s, but we'll probably put priority lists and, priority of, myself might be a little bit higher than someone else. Yourself, you prioritize yourself more than training, obviously. Like that.
Yeah.
Just to show you, like, training for me recently has been the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
However, I'm thinking of actually raising it a little bit higher because I've been missing it and it's become 0 on my list.
It's good for your mental health as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the focusing on you and training, like there's 2 differences in those. They coincide.
But they kind of don't. I feel like training should be its own thing.
Training for you and training for your mental health are 2 different things. You can train for you to look good and feel good, but then you can also train
for your... from a vanity perspective.
True.
Yeah, like to be fair, like I'm not gonna lie to my audience. I do train to look good sometimes. And I have done that heaps in the past. However, recently I've seen a shift where my training has been focused on improving my mobility, becoming more flexible, learning new skills So I'm trying to learn a handstand. That's an example of some skills I want to learn. I want to be able to do the splits. That's another skill that I want to learn. But all these things are tailored towards skill acquisition or trying to progress in some sort of form. It's less about physique and getting that six pack, even though that is part of the process. It's not my why anymore. My why to start training is for the handstands, for the splits, for being able to move through life a lot easier. That's kind of,
That's
yeah.
yeah. My goal is not so much that. My goal is like, I don't know. My mental health is obviously the most important. So like that's my reason to do that. Like training is good because you increase your endorphins. You train, you're pumping blood throughout your body, and you kind of just it is like a little bit of alone time in the sense that you're sculpting a creation which you are sculpting. Like it's all up to you in that moment. So in that sense, you can go different ways about fitness and how it can improve your life. Myself, I do it for my mental health. I think everyone does it for their mental health as well,
In
because
some
it's
way, yeah.
in some sort of way. Everyone does it for goals as well, like Brendon. Like there's a whole, you can go down so many rabbit holes with it. You can just go down so many
Yeah.
rabbit holes, and they
There's
can,
different roads that you can take through life. I feel like the best lesson that we can give the viewers is choose a road that works for you and you can stick to for a long period of time and you know you can stick to. So in your mind, if your focal point is I'm training to improve my mental health, then stick to that road because that's going to keep you going for a long haul, right? But if you're what's pushing you to turn up to the gym every day is I want to get a handstand, then always have in your mind I want to get a handstand, I want to get a handstand, I want to get a handstand because that's what's going to keep making you turn up all the time. So there's the road of mental health, there's a road of goals or skill acquisition. There could be the road of the six pack for someone else, you know. It just or the big bum, you know.
yeah,
Depends who's watching right now, but you know everyone has specific goals, everyone has specific targets, everyone views fitness and health differently. For some people, like some of our clients, I have a client, her goal or her reason for wanting to actually train when I'm not even there, is to be able to turn up on Christmas Day, which is coming up in a month's time, without using her walker to walk around with the kids and see her family, which is so fucking cute. So whenever I see her, I'm walking around her house, I'm helping her just move a little bit better, improving her mobility patterns, and just decreasing that fear that she has with falling because there is fall risks. She is finding that she's finding difficulty to walk without having assistance or not having me nearby to help catch her if she does. She's never fallen or even had that balance issue, but you
just
know,
the scare factor that it could happen.
I feel like it's just in the mental space that
Yeah,
she's fearful of falling.
yeah.
Yeah.
And why? What do you think? How do I word this question? With something like your mentality, how can you overcome a fear like that?
My, because I've had heaps of clients that have had some sort of fear. I had another client who had a fear of jumping, because she's always been the heavier girl, and jumping for her was never possible because she didn't have strong enough knees, ankles, hips. So my tip to decreasing that fear when it's related to a physical, so like for her the jumping, for the other one it was walking without a walker. Those two things are very physically related because their fear is related to their joints not being able to cope their load, their knees giving way, their hips giving way. My way to teach them to get out of that fear is to increase strength in their joints. So then in their head they're like, oh, my knees are strong now. Now I'll be able to walk.
Yeah.
My knees and hips are strong now. Now I'll be able to jump.
So you're changing their mentality of
To I'm strong so I can do it.
yeah. So their mentality is going from fear to confident.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
increasing confidence by in their internal monologue is saying, I'm weak. If I jump, I'm gonna break myself. I'm changing it to I've got strong knees now. If I jump, my knees are strong and they're gonna be able to handle whatever I give it.
Yep.
So increasing their strength in those areas is going to help them kind of decrease that fear, increase the confidence in that way. You know what I mean?
What are some types of external stuff like yoga or Pilates that you would suggest for someone to improve their mental health towards fitness or towards their life?
Ooh. Whenever I've gone through like tough periods in my life, so this is going to be different for everyone because
For sure.
I've gone through tough periods where I've gone towards yoga because it's very relaxing, breathing,
Meditation.
meditation. Like I kind of go towards that part when I'm like, I guess in a depressive state. So like when I'm not feeling my best,
Like an unmotivated state.
no, I'm not unmotivated because when I'm unmotivated, I like to push myself hard. So I'll increase my goals, make it really hard to achieve, and then really push myself in those sessions to really motivate me, kick me up the ass. But when I am kind of in a down mood, like not really feeling it, not really feeling myself in a period of time,
Yep.
that's when I'll kind of go towards the yoga / meditation route and kind of just really do slow poses, stretching. Because I
Yep.
don't know, I feel like when I stretch and do a lot of that mobility stuff that you see me do, I feel like it's very relaxing. I really push myself towards these new found end ranges, and that just releases these positive feelings for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Not
Because
mic on?
then
It's not mic on.
he's got it on his heart. He saw someone do it online and he was
No,
like,
no, I didn't see someone do it on mine.
yeah, you know
I'll tell
who
you where
does
I
it?
got this.
Sam Sulek.
Oh,
He does
I
it.
didn't actually see that. So
Oh,
I swear to God. So you know how this happened, right? So we're at the park and we were all good,
we'll do
recording
it,
some
yeah.
content. Recording some content for Dynamicrecov. Check our Instagram page.
Slight plug.
And Ray was there and he put it on his hat and he put the mic on his hat and I was like, that is so smart because I had put it down here just on my collar because that's what I usually do,
Yeah.
and the chain was just hitting it whenever I was jumping around. You just hear all these noises like whatever, and I was like, nah, I need to change this up. So I copied him. I just started doing it.
Where is it?
Yeah,
It's
no,
one of
it's
these.
just-
Constantly.
that's gonna annoy them right now. So that was what was happening in the videos, and we had to recreate those videos all the time.
Oh,
I remember we spent like 3 hours one day because we had to go home,
re-record.
come back. We came back. One of the mics was dead. We had to go back home, charge it, come back out to the park. Then we got there, and then this thing started making noise. Had to go back home. Oh no, we didn't have to go back home.
No.
We just had to get rid of the chains. I remember I just threw this chain somewhere. It took me ages to find it.
No, I got it from Sam Sulek. When he goes to the gym, I don't know if anyone knows him, but he's just a guy that goes to the gym. He's
A guy that goes
Huge.
to the gym, fitness influencer.
He's huge. He's a big boy, and big. And
Is he as big as me? Right?
definitely not. But yeah, he started putting in his hat. This is a good idea, and now I see freaking everyone doing it. Everyone's putting their thing in their hat.
Yeah,
so,
like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm
like
starting
that.
this trend,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So, what you do when you're recording content, you get a hat, right? Like a Nike hat, and you put the microphone on the edge of the hat. It picks up your voice because it's like really close in proximity. And if you wear chains like me, when you're walking around and stuff, it's gonna hit the microphone and play around with it. So you kind of want to make sure that you're getting quality in your content, and this gives you quality. So all those fitness business owners, try the hat, the Nike hat, all right? Sweat protection, hat protection, chain protection.
Oh my god, you gave him a tutorial on how to use a microphone that you just clip onto your shirt. And now your hat. So there you go. There's
They've got multiple options.
Now
Now.
you got multiple options.
Oh, and you know what? When this guy was doing burpees the other day, right? He chucked the microphone on the chain.
Yeah.
That was innovation.
Oh, I was
innovation.
doing push-ups and then started making those noises again, and I was like, nah, definitely not.
I think I have a big enough nose to put the microphone inside
Do
the
not,
nose.
please,
No?
please, for everyone's sake and
That's
yours.
too much, isn't
I
it,
think
that
it would hurt more than it would be.
Or I can grow out this beard, clip it to my hair.
Oh my god, that would be a sight for sore eyes, I think. So next topic that we're gonna dive into is so business owners in the fitness industry. So tips and tricks. Both us being young in the industry, we have
Young in the industry.
young in the industry, but
We've
enough.
been in the industry a while now. However, we've always kind of worked for someone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So that's what I mean by young in the industry. We're young in the business entrepreneurship industry, but we're very well aware of the business of personal training. So we've obviously been personal trainers for the past 4 to 5 years. We've learnt a lot being in
working for
jobs,
other
out of
people,
jobs, working for other people. But when you go out on your own, no one really teaches you unless you watch freaking YouTube galore and you follow
do your
this guy.
research.
You do your research, but nobody.
And I wouldn't say social media is the best form of research.
Obviously
you can
not.
get a lot of information from
You get
social media.
ideas. You get
You get-
ideas and
You
information.
can get a lot of information from podcasts.
Yeah.
And we provide you a lot of tips and tricks. And you know what? You watching this podcast, you'll see us from start to finish because this business is never going to stop. And we can both say that right now. And you watching this podcast, you'll see us start from ground zero to ground 100.
Yeah.
Maybe they can watch episode 633 and they'll see the change from now to then, you know.
It'll evolve. It'll evolve. There
Evolve.
we go.
So we're right now, I'd say, like we're this little caterpillar. We're about to go into the tree. All right, so
We're nowhere near the cocoon. I
Actually-
think we're climbing up the tree. Look, our mate will start drawing the tree. I think the caterpillar is just starting at the bottom of the tree. Once we get
I
up,
reckon we're walking towards a tree still. So we see the tree, we're looking at it and we're walking. So just think of us right now as a little caterpillar just walking around, hoping that we don't get stepped on. All right, that's
pretty much.
That's us right now.
That's how young we are in the business side of the fitness industry. So
yeah. So
in that sense, tips and tricks for starting. Just start.
yes.
You've got nothing to.
That actually is the best piece of advice is just start. Because if you really, because we are both super passionate about this, which is why we know this business is never going to end. Because we know this is what we want to do. We wake up every day excited. I go to bed at night still calling this guy, telling him of my shower thoughts and, and we're like, tomorrow 10 a.m. in the office, we're actioning this right now. And he's like, man, go to fucking sleep.
Yeah. Like, I just spent 9 hours of my day with you. Like, just go to bed. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay.
Don't worry, I wrote it in my notes page. We'll review it tomorrow.
Oh my God.
But my experience, I came from, when was it? Okay, year 9. Year 9, I got this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Good book.
One of the best books I've ever read. Well, it was actually the first book I ever read, if I'm being honest. Robert Kiyosaki, you're a cool man. Don't like you now. Liked you back then. Read your whole book. Loved it. The stuff we talk about today, a bit controversial, if I'm being honest. We're not going into that. He was actually the driver for me to learn and love business. I did commerce in year 9 and 10. That was my favourite subject. Followed that up with business and economics in year 11 and 12. They were probably my best subjects as well because I just loved that shit. I actually almost went into an economics degree, but then pulled myself aside and thought, you know what, I think I'm better suited towards the fitness industry. Did sports and exercise science, but I still always had this love for business and finance and all that kind of stuff because that's, I don't know, I feel like that's where my brain and my headspace has always been in. So I knew I was always going to run a business.
It took up a good chunk of your life. Like your peak of your learning was chunked around that. So like it would have always been in your mind, and then you would have looked back and gone, I like playing sport and I like physical activity and I like the gym, so maybe I'm going to go down that route. And so you've done a bit of like a roller coaster up and down.
Worked for people.
Yeah.
I realised, wait a second, where's business come into this?
Yeah.
I'm just working for someone else's business. I was like, no, that needs to change.
Now I can combine it. I can put both.
But what was it?
So as soon as you got out of uni, you went through the route of being a personal trainer, and then
that's what I was going to say.
Business.
This might sound, I don't know how this is going to sound, but I have had 15 jobs. in my life. 15. I can actually pull up my resume now, and
We'll be here for another hour.
we'll be for another hour. So I think it's like between 15 to 20 jobs. I never got fired somehow. Don't know how. I always just had a job, held it for a while, and then quit. I just got sick of being managed. I hate being micromanaged. I was the type of person that I liked learning about what I had to do and kind of just running my own ship. One of my favorite jobs was when I worked at a job. I worked for a company called, it was a chocolate place, and they just opened the store, so they needed all these people to come in and start running the store.
Promote it, run it, yeah.
Yeah, run it. So it was me and 3 other employees that started, and basically the 4 of us had to basically run the store ourselves. We only had one manager that kind of was in and out, but most of the time I opened, I closed, and it was kind of me and just one other person that were running the ship. I loved it. I was like, you know what, I actually enjoy this because I know the ins and outs of this business. I am the one, if I'm not here, this business kind of falls down because I was the one that knew how to open. I was one that knew how to close. I knew how to talk to customers. I knew how to display the chocolates and stuff. It wasn't that exciting, but then I got to the end of it and I was like, wait, I'm doing all this work. I love it. I did love it. But I want to do something that actually is for me. And look, as much as I love chocolate, I need to go back to fitness. So after that, I went to fitness and the rest is history.
It's
I know you were like that too. You never really held a job for long as well, did you?
No, I did. I had 4 long-term jobs. So I went to uni, I left, I did 5 months. Actually, I had like 6-month blocks. There was like a 2-year period where I had like 6-month blocks. So I had like 6 months of uni and then left, and then I did 6 months of labouring and then left, and then I did 6 months of PT, and then I did 6 months of PT in the city, and then after that it started getting longer. So then after I left the city PT job, I went and did a year at a one-of-one, like a new fresh starting business called Totem. And in that year was when I sort of discovered the world of business. I had no real prior.
Yes.
I had no real prior
Yes,
to
that's
what a
right.
business was. I had an idea of what it was when I was working in the city, because they were a one-of-one company as well. But it was only until I started with an up-and-coming business that I realized my worth. I think that was another big thing is I knew how to work for someone, but I didn't know what my worth was, so I didn't know how to work for me at that stage.
You didn't know how to create your own wealth, like to own something that was yours.
Yeah, like I had no idea on the world of business. Like I wasn't the smartest cookie in school, but like I always had like everyone does, they have a goal in mind to run their own business somewhere down the line.
Not everyone definitely has that goal.
Not everyone, but anyway, for instance, for me, that was my goal, was eventually one day with
you're one of the
whatever I
select
was.
few. I'd say business owners, especially long-term business owners, I wouldn't say they're 1%, but you know, you always hear that stat. What was it? 90% of businesses fail in the first year.
And
Something
only like 10% of people follow through with going through with it. So like
we're only 10 months in, so we're technically before the 1 year period. But if you're seeing this video, then it shows that we've passed the 1 year and we're still going. So
technically, yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if they see this video, then
yeah,
we made it past the year. We're part of that 10%.
But as I was saying, like I never understood the world of business up until running this business and running my own. So like when I had that year at Totem, that year was very different because I started learning about my own self-worth. So I was running group classes of 30 plus people and everyone loved the sessions, and I was like, oh, okay, like why wasn't I getting this recognition at the other place? And then it was like, okay, well,
it's because you were like actually proper managing them. When you were working for someone else, you were just taking the group class, or you were just
I was just told to
doing
do
the
it.
session.
I was just told to do it.
Whereas in this example, you were messaging these people, you were following up with them, you were calling them, you were making sure these people were turning up. So technically, when you're running that group class, all they had contact with was you,
Yeah.
right?
That-
And now running this business, all they have contact with is still you. So it's still like that same type of thing.
The evolution of my mindset, and this may not, some people may not understand it, but the evolution of my mindset each year had changed. So, like, going to uni was something that I thought was the right thing to do. And then,
Societal pressure.
yeah,
You know?
societal pressure, 100%. And then after that, it was like, okay, I need to get into a trade because I know a trade will pay you 100% and it's consistent and you're
Safe.
always doing it. And the
Safe,
safety
yeah.
net came out and it didn't work out for me mentally. So then after that, I was like, okay, what's my passion? Where do I lie? What does my goal look like? Okay, what do I like doing? Sport, physical activity, personal trainer, 6 months of that. Then I went into the industry. I had no idea about it. I just threw myself in the deep end. Cool, let's go work for 6 months. Worked for 6 months. Bang, then a whole year of learning about my ability as a person and my mentality started changing. My self-worth started changing and I left. And then I went to a F45 and F45, they rise you to the top as a trainer because all it's about is about hyping up the class and being that person and being involved and talking and this and that. So then I started knowing like, this is what I'm worth. Okay, cool. That's now my brain's developing to a point where if I was to leave, I know I could run a group session down at the park. How do I do that? So then you start diving into the research. How can I run a group session at the park legally? Then you start researching. Bang, you're rolling this off the tongue and you're learning about it and you're going, okay, I can do that. Then I ran into, there was a period at Totem, there was a period at Totem just before where I started a business, or didn't start a business with my mate, but he had a business already that he was running. And he told me to come on board and he said, hey, like, I want you to work for me. I want you to just understand like how the industry works and come on board. That was the first time that
You're making a big move towards like the business side of things.
Correct.
Working for someone properly.
And I got a taste for it and then bang, it just started happening. So what's that now? 3-4 years later, we're here.
Yeah, that's it.
3-4 years later, we're here. So like, yeah,
the biggest tip for our followers or people watching this podcast is what you said before.
Yep.
Just start because if I'm being honest, like from what you just heard from both of us, he soaked up a lot of information from every single business that he was involved in. For me, I learnt about all the theories. I did a year of economics. Like I did all this theory content, but
so the brains and the broad. That's it.
Yeah, but what I would say from both of these examples is when we started this thing, we both learnt the same lessons at the exact same time.
Yeah.
I had the theories, he had the experiences, but when you actually start doing it, that's when you properly learn.
Yeah, the hands-on.
We came in exactly at ground zero in terms of knowledge.
Yeah.
I would say that even though I had that knowledge, it gave me what? It gave me HR is this, operations is this, finance is this, whatever.
We had different perspectives on it because you came from a background of theory, I came from a background of experience. So then we combined the two, and now we're here. So now it's like
no way, but like we were still, we hit so many bottlenecks, we hit so many road bumps, I would like to say, along the road, and that's what actually taught us the lessons that put us where we are right now. Because if we didn't have those speed bumps along the way, we wouldn't actually be making this podcast. We wouldn't be able to sit down.
Yeah, it was like 2 steps forward, 10 steps back, and then 5 steps forward, 15 steps back. But then we'd always end up like just chasing our feet.
But I also want to preface the fact that we're talking as if we're running some mega business. We have, just so you know, we started in January. It's only November right now. This is new. We just started this podcast because we want to take you guys through our journey.
Yeah.
And basically explain how we got to where we are right now and how we are going to get to where we are in the future and show you our journey along the way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's more about the journey rather than the destination. The destination is cool, but for us, we enjoy the process. We enjoy the boring. We enjoy the sitting in this office every single day. It's just my little garage. It's a little garage setup.
The constant grind, I think, that motivates
Excites
you
us, yeah.
and excites you.
And if it doesn't excite you, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you don't throw yourself in the deep end, you'll never know
Yes.
if you can float or sink.
Yes.
So
100%.
that's the biggest takeaway from starting something like this. Like, the podcast is a podcast. No, we're not expecting it to do big numbers in the first 3 episodes, like Joe Rogan and stuff. But like we're just doing it to do
Joe
it.
Rogan, by the way, you're a cool guy.
Little plug. But it's interesting, like, starting something like this. Not the confidence it gives you, but the different, how would you say, the different thought process it gives you on the bigger world. Like, what is actually out there.
Yeah, because we can talk about anything, right? So we obviously are I would say we're content creators, like a little bit.
After a year, you'd hope so.
Yeah,
we're
okay,
just going ballistic with it now.
we are content creators. And with the content that we make, it's targeted at giving you value on our Instagram page.
Yeah,
That's
agreed.
basically what it is. And with that value, everyone has limited attention spans these days. We do too. We're not saying like we're perfect, because when I was on TikTok, I got to a stage of scrolling after 5 seconds of every video. So every single video we have to make sure it's engaging. It's got the cut edits. It's got videos. It's got all these spinny little stuff. He's got his microphone on his head, like it's he's doing burpees and but what I'm trying to say with that is it's fun, engaging, quick.
Yeah.
This podcast, we can actually talk to you and explain things in more detail.
Yeah.
And the people that are going to watch these are going to get more knowledge from us, because we're able to discuss things in length rather than me having to think, oh, how do I cut this video into 30 seconds?
How do I keep someone's attention span from the hour that we talk here to the 7 seconds that they can only handle on Instagram Reels or TikTok?
Because like, just the other day, he got really pissed off with me, right? Because he's the one that edits all the content. Rianon edits all of our content. So everything you see on Instagram, that's this guy, pro editor, I'd say. You're getting fucking amazing at it, if I'm being honest. So we're recording content, and we've had a new style with the way we talk and our scripts and stuff like that. And with our scripts, it's kind of just title, content, hook.
Yeah.
And then I was like, sweet, this is my style, this is my jam. His recording is like, Brendon, 30 seconds. He closes the video, 2 minutes 40, 3 minutes. He's like, Brendon, 30 seconds.
The one thing with the content that obviously you try to post, and you want to try keep engagement as high as possible.
But you also want to provide knowledge.
As well.
That's what I want to do, but I know it doesn't work.
With everyone, with the way the social media works, people have very, very short attention spans. So you want to try and captivate them within the first 10 seconds, or the first 7 to 10 seconds is the most important. So if you can captivate them within the first 7 to 10 seconds, they'll watch the rest of it. So you'll be scrolling through TikTok and you'll see something with 450,000 likes. Yeah, because it captivates you off the bat. And then after that, it's like another 30 seconds of content that just lures you in and continues the cycle. So that's the type of, it's a hook. It's like, I didn't know that John Cena does this. And then you're like, oh, I'm curious. I'm going to watch the rest of it. Nah, it's not about John Cena. It's got nothing to do with John Cena. It's got to do with the fact that people buy Apple products more than iPhones. Yeah, Samsungs. Like,
And I've just scrolled.
yeah, then you're just like, oh, right, well done. But that keeps it, that's the engagement. So the stuff with the fitness industry is you've got to draw someone's attention. Like, I've watched the videos like, I hate my followers. And you're like, why would you say that? And then you listen to it, it's like, oh no, it's got nothing to do with that, but it's drawn my attention to the fact that I can watch the rest of it now and understand
And you probably
why.
watched the rest of it.
And I did. I watched the whole freaking thing. But that's the beauty of social media, is like, you've got to learn the ins and outs of it. It's an ever-changing, ever-growing world.
The only thing I don't like about it is it's not, what's the word? It's not regulated at all.
Yeah.
Not regulated at all. So the information that people can put out there doesn't have to be backed by research. I come from a research background, so I make sure and we make sure that all the content that we provide is actually true and accurate through research. So we actually put time and effort into making sure what we give you
So there's proof in the pudding.
yeah, is evidence based. However, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
There is heaps of people out there that are just producing content for fun that has no evidence based approach, and people are soaking that in for what? And then taking that advice like that lemon water shit. Sorry.
There's a guy called Jeff Nippard. I don't know if you've heard him.
Yeah.
And
I used to watch him when I first started gym.
Yeah, same.
Did you?
Yeah, and he was
Nippard, if you're hearing this, we started our gym journey from you.
pretty much.
It was like Athlete X, Jeff Nippard.
Yeah, all the OGs.
Who's the other guy? He was like not bulky
More
at
plates,
all.
more weights.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them, but Jeff Nippard was the one that literally showed you the research that went behind each of his theories that he would speak about, or not his theories, but each of his things that he would try to explain to his audience. So his YouTube actually blew up from that, and then he went down to shorter form content, which is where he's at now. So now he's on, so now he's on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and it's 30-second videos of him explaining the research behind why bicep curls at a shorter rep range. And now you'll notice that a lot of influencers are reacting to other people. So like evidence-based training was reacting to someone that was like, you've got to eat freaking 12 boiled eggs and that's all you need to eat. And or the other one the other day was the 48 hour fast. You're only allowed one meal and the 48 hours and you'll lose this. And evidence-based training goes, what the heck? Why would you do that? Why? Like, it just doesn't make any sense why you would fast for 48 hours. Make it make sense. But that's the social media realm, is you've got no limitations. There's no regulations at all.
Which is why I really respect people like, one of my favorite, like this might sound a bit nerdy, and it is. I would say I'm a pretty big nerd. Ben Carpenter, every single video that he posts a study in it. It's so cool. So there was a video that I saw of him the other day, talking about weighted vests. And there's been studies done on rats. Have you seen it?
I think I saw that.
So there was a study done on rats, and you can see this in his video. Maybe we should actually link it below.
Yeah, we'll link it below.
There was a study done on rats where they put like weighted vests on the rat, and they tried to find out if the rat had a heavier weight vest, did it lose more weight? They were fed the same amount of food, and they found out the rat that had the heavier weighted vest lost more weight. And it was basically saying that because the rat had to move around, probably did the same amount of work as the other rat, but because it had to move around with the weighted vest on, it was burning more energy or burning more calories throughout the day. It wasn't exercising more, so it's not related to exercise. It's actually more related to NEAT, or the exercise that you would be doing in your normal day. Like, for example, me moving my hands, that's using energy. If I was moving my hands with 2 kilo dumbbells in my hands, that would burn more energy rather than with no weight. They'd done the study in humans, and from memory, when I saw what he said, it was actually proven to an extent that it actually does improve weight loss. But don't take this study and don't take his advice as start wearing weighted vests all day, because he didn't say that either. He just said that it's all about that load, having extra load on you does improve the weight loss process. It's a good thought to have. And James Smith actually made a video as well talking about, I'd rather be wearing a weighted vest like a cunt than what was he comparing it to? Then drink my lemon water. He said something like that. And I was like, right on, man.
I think
so true.
Another good way that some influencers have been blowing up on social media have been using analogies to show people that, like, I think, who was it? It wasn't evidence-based. It was James Smith.
You don't get to a sheep farmer for a cow. Yeah, that was my one.
You don't go to a Toyota dealership wanting expecting a Lamborghini.
That was his one. I was sitting in the office writing a blog yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, give me an analogy for this." And he was stumped, and I was like, "My one is, you don't go to a sheep farmer for a cow." And he was like, "Brendon, that's the most stupid thing."
I didn't say it was stupid. I was just like, How does it relate to fitness? I don't understand. And then my one sounded worse because then I
the
started talking
car.
about cars.
And I used the car one in the blog as well because I
Did you
thought,
actually?
yeah, I did.
That's class. But yeah, I think that leeways to a good segment of working from home, the hybrid and remote, and
Oh yes.
because we're working from
We're working from
home
home basically,
technically,
yeah.
so
Well, from an office.
from an office.
Actually, I'd probably say it's more like an office, even though it's in my garage. I
Have
just have to walk down.
have you noticed a difference in working from home compared to driving to a job that you had? Have you noticed like any differences between that? Because I know I have.
Weird. Oh, it's been such a long time since I've had a job.
I think for me,
As weird as that sounds.
yeah,
But like, it's also because I've been a PT.
yeah,
And when I was doing PT, for a company, I was working for someone else.
yeah. Like
Um,
talk about that. Talk about like your experience working for someone, whereas working for yourself.
Oh, we talked about that before, but it was a bit more like when I was working for someone, um, all of the business side of things, like getting clients, looking after their accounts, marketing, all that stuff, I didn't have to touch. All I had to do was rock up at the location
Yeah,
at the start of the day and train my clients, go home,
the
maybe send them
yeah
some homework.
homework.
But the beautiful thing about that job as well was I got to look after my clients. So I was part of the client, what do you call it?
You were part of the client's journey.
I was part of the client's journey from start to finish
Yeah,
because I was training them, but I was also looking after them outside before and after sessions
yeah.
by giving them homework, giving them programs, calling them to check in. So I was looking after the client at the same time as training them or doing the work that I was getting paid for.
Do you feel like your responsibility in that situation changed? Like
Yeah, because I
your
felt
care factor?
responsible for every single client that I was given.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't have to jump on the sales call and call these people,
Mm.
I was involved with that person's journey
Mm.
from start to finish,
Mm.
which was amazing and I loved it.
Mm.
I loved every bit of it. But talking about like, because this is all like fitness and business and all that kind of stuff, um, I want to touch on people today. I feel like since COVID have gone into like remote, hybrid, in office, like the work
Hibernation
life
mode.
has changed. The
Yeah.
work life has definitely changed. But I feel like recently it's been shifting back to people going back to the office.
Mm. I think everyone is like, all right, you've had your time, you had your fun, staying at home and working from home. It's
So
like,
now,
out you get.
because I just heard the other day, I was talking to my client, she's gone back to the office,
Yeah.
but she still has 2 days a week where she's at home. She does like at home. So that's a hybrid. This is an example of a hybrid where she does 2 days at home, 3 days in office. She tells me whenever she catches a train to the office, she dreads it because the trains are so packed these days. So it's
Because everyone's going back out.
yeah. So what that tells me is the city's filling up again, Alex. You know, the city's going back to its busy status.
The
But Sydney City,
the economic world has to revitalize itself. Like we
Yeah,
were
that's
on
the
pause. We were on pause for so long.
Mm.
So now it's just like, all right, come on, make the world some money. Get out there.
in a way, yeah.
In a way, in the analogy of it, like get out, do
Yeah,
your
well-
work, make money for the world, and then come back.
I had a client that's getting an office space in Alexandria, so like near the city. So like there are people that even if they're running their own business, they're kind of going into the heart of the city to kind of be connected to, you know, networking opportunities, I guess.
I feel like that's, yeah, I feel like a lot of people have gone obviously back to the office, but then a lot of businesses that have started have gone, okay, I can work from home, but I think that atomic habits, I think that divide and that change of environment keeps me more motivated. So I feel like a lot of other businesses, especially people that I've been speaking to, like my clients, they've changed office or they've they don't go into their old office. They say to their boss, oh, I just want to go, I'll pop in for a bit this week and then I'll go to a home office or a library or something like that. But I feel like the environment, the thought process on the environment of your work has changed.
Yes, because I'm big on atomic habits. He taught me so many cool things.
Good
James
book.
Clear.
Good
James
book.
Clear, it's a good book.
We'll link it down below.
Yeah, how many things are we gonna link?
Just a list of
We're gonna
links.
have the bio to this podcast. It's just like links. People like, oh, which one's a James Smith one? Which one's Ben Carpenter?
Evidence-based training. I'm just gonna put them all. I'll put all their Instagram handles.
Oh my god. Anyways, what I was saying, environment has become a massive thing for me. I have this office obviously, but we reserve this office for work. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes.
Most of the time it is reserved for work, and then once it comes to the weekend,
90% of the time this is like a work
yeah,
office.
yeah.
We do sometimes change it up. Okay. In total, this is a work office. Okay. What I was supposed to say with this, what I'm trying to say with this is, I never work from inside my own home.
Yeah.
Because when I'm inside my own home, I try to limit work interaction there. If I need to work, I'll come back in here because I want to make sure that when I'm in here, my brain is wired to work. It sounds weird, but it actually makes sense if you actually follow this process. When I'm in my bed, I reserve that location for sleep and sleep only. I don't go on my phone as much. I don't do as many things. I set up a location somewhere else for me to read. So then when I'm in that location, I'm only reading at that time.
Yep.
It all makes sense if you actually choose locations for specific things, because once you go into that, your habit or your head or mindset is thinking, oh, I'm here, I usually read here. Okay, let's go pick up that book, let's start reading. When you're in your bed, most people have problems with sleep because I feel like they bring their laptops to bed, they might watch movies in bed, they might be scrolling through social media in bed, and those things, when they go to bed, they're thinking, oh, I usually scroll through socials at this time of the night, at 10 p.m, 11 p.m, whatever time you go to bed.
So your brain switches off.
Your brain's involved in the social media world rather than focusing on sleep. And not to brag or anything, but I sleep within 10 minutes. I'm dead. I'm gone. And you can attest to this because we went on a massive Europe trip and every single location was like, oh, this guy's just going to fall asleep whenever.
2 seconds later. Now like a light.
I remember I got home, you were sleeping on the bed. You were on the bed because it was like 3 of you in a 2...
No, we were in London and Jono was downstairs and me and you were upstairs, but I'd already fallen asleep, or we were about to fall asleep. And then you jumped in the bed and you went, all right, I'm going to sleep now. 5 minutes later, snoring galore. And I'm like, oh, now I'm trying to sleep. So how do I block this out? So I'm sitting here like this and I've obviously just cocked it.
I was looking at the story in Ibiza when you three, it was you, Mark and Jono, and you're in the bed. And I just rocked up like 3 hours later.
Laid on the bottom of the bed and just went like this. Died. It's just out like a light in 2 minutes.
I got home at like 6:30 or something. We had a flight at 7:30, and I was like, Ray, how long can I sleep for?
24 minutes, I said.
And I was like, done, wake me up. So
I think I stayed up. He went out for 24 minutes. As soon as my alarm went off, his alarm went off. He was awake, packed his bag, chucked everything in, and we're out. But going on that was the bed is your environment to sleep in. Don't cross over with work, because then you're going to be lying there and you're like, oh, I can just scroll for a little bit longer. Oh, this video. Oh, and then you get locked into the social media world, and then it's like, oh, you're there for half an hour and you're like, oh, wait, I came in here to do work and now it's half an hour gone.
Exactly. So
you get lost in the chain.
That's why whenever we're in this office, we rarely go on our phones to look at social media, because we're here with our laptops. We're here with our laptops to work, to do things here. We'll actually, when we want to have downtime, we'll actually get out of the office. And that's when we'd spend some time on socials, or, you know, meeting up with our mates, or doing stuff outside of work hours. That kind of thing is what we do. So, yeah.
That's it. But on that note,
social media, again, is fucked. Sorry, but like, I don't know. I feel like, yes, we're content creators. We're all over social media, and we're pushing out so much content, and I feel like it's adding to the problem. Just because people watching our videos means they're sticking on the platforms for long periods of time. But we're talking from our own experience too. We're also on social media as well. Not only do we post on there, but we engage with content on there as well. We watch content on socials, and the problem, what I'm saying, the problem is it distracts you from doing what you actually want to do.
Distraction from reality.
Distraction from reality, yeah. You get sucked into this game of just scrolling for all this content. Yeah, it all speaks out to you because it's targeted that way, right? But
It's crazy. I don't think people put into consideration how much time they're on there or on their phone. It's in your pocket. Like, people have created pockets to hold things in, and your phone is the number one thing in your pocket. If it's not there, you can't buy things, you can't do anything, you can't message people, you can't tell them you're at the
your whole
front.
life goes on like a standstill if you don't have your phone these
Yeah,
days.
I feel like
And if you look back not even 20, like 15 to 20 years ago, phones weren't as big. I remember that we still had those bricks.
the Nokias.
The Nokia bricks, and
I
remember I used to leave that thing at home all the time.
Yeah,
I remember Mum used to say, like, you always make sure you always bring your phone out because I need to know if you're okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, no worries, Mum.
But-
Leave it at home, because I was just like, fuck this shit.
it was only just used for calling. That was it. I feel like that we grew up in a world where
We got the mix of both. Which
the back end of
I love that.
the
part.
back end of nothing and the start of something.
Yes, because we grew up with these fucking big
Blackberries.
phones, and you had to tap A 3 times to get a C. I don't know if all
Yeah,
of the audience will
bro.
understand
Oh, the
what
snake
that means.
game as well.
Oh, snake. I remember going to school. I'd be on the bus, and then I'd be like, boys, look how high I got last night on the snake game.
Score 20,000. Yes.
I was on it for a while, man. Look at this thing.
That's just the day and age. I feel like the people the kids these days that are being brought into this world are infatuated with the fact that mum and dad have a phone. I want that
I want that as
I
well.
want that
It's because
satisfaction.
they grow up looking at their parents scrolling through social media. They're like, they're not playing around with them as. Oh, look, we're not going to say like they're not doing that stuff. I'm just saying, social media and phones or technology these days have become so ingrained in society that I feel like those phones, without them, I mean, those phones have become that technology has become so much a part of your
It's normal.
life that it's become the norm.
normal.
So like after your dinner, you might be scrolling through social media just thinking it's normal, but then your babies, your kids are growing up looking at this phone or looking at you on your phone all the time and thinking, oh, what's that? I want to get a piece of that, because they always look up to their parents and want to imitate their parents. That's kind of what I would take from it.
100%. I did something recently that I didn't think I'd ever need, and it was a bit of a hard thing mentally for me to do because it was such a big part of my life. But what I did was I deleted all my socials. I literally switched off for a month. For a month, I had nothing to do with social media. The first 2 weeks were crazy. Like my brain, the way my brain worked was like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Because that's literally what we've been brought up into this world to do, is communicate with people by device or scroll through TikTok or scroll through Instagram or do this or do that. I switched it all off, and it's made me hone in on what's important. And it's pulled you away from the social media platform, the streaming services like
sucking your time away.
Oh, bro. And then my screen time went from like 20 hours, like it wasn't even 20 hours. It was like 7 to 8 hours a day down to 4 to 5 hours a day. And I've gone, that's such a difference.
Yeah, but we need to explain to them that it's only 7 to 8 hours a day because you work on that thing.
But this was just before we started going.
Okay,
ham.
we're gonna say yes.
Not every person goes on their phone for 7 to 8 hours a day. I
That's what I'm trying to say.
I only go
And you
on my
don't-
phone because I'm on my phone for work
Yes,
purposes.
okay. So
But
he's
there was-
calling. He's always on the phone.
Let me check actually. I want to see how much my screen time is, especially on like social media platforms, because like everyone's. There we go. Screen time. 8 hours average a day, but if you
That's a
go
week, isn't it? Oh,
daily average,
8.
but app, like I've even put limits on my apps.
Yeah, but I remember this guy works from his phone, so like that's why it's so like that.
So
There we go. Like Instagram,
yeah, like
which is the one we use the most. Messages is 42%.
so November.
That already answers the question. 42% of his screen time is on messages. So and Instagram, which is where we post most of our content. So and he's
Yeah.
the one that posts the content.
True.
So like you don't what we're trying to say with all this information right now is
I just realized.
maybe have a look at your screen time. That's
Yeah.
something they can actually take away from this. Have a look at your screen time and see if there's certain areas that you can actually change or limit. You know, like
You can set
for
limits
him,
on your
he
apps.
works on Instagram. Like that's one of his main jobs that he does throughout the day is to manage the social media space, manage the content, and with that in mind, he's going to be on his phone for long periods of time. So he actually manages this by using blue light glasses.
Blue light glasses
Yeah.
and time limits on my phone. So I know I have
And your
to
free
set.
time is actually less about social media these days.
Yeah, my
noticed.
free time is like reading, journaling, spending time
Well,
with
there we
family,
go. That
all
just
that
shows
stuff.
that that's him reducing time, changing his downtime from
Yeah.
what it used to be, which was social media, being on his phone, to reading, meditation, exercise, which is all
Because you can get so locked up
different.
in it. You can get
Yeah.
so locked up in scrolling, and then your mum's like, "Hey, can you do this?" Oh yeah, in a minute. That minute turns into 2 hours of you just scrolling or watching a YouTube video, and like you switch off and you don't realize that you're wasting valuable time.
they could be spending on.
Like we
something
said in
better.
the previous podcast, we talked about time being your most expensive currency. If you're spending an average of 8 hours a day on your phone,
That's a lot of time.
it's a lot
That's
of
a
time.
lot of time.
So use your time wisely. Just put some limits on your apps. Force your phone to block
Actually, yeah,
you.
the limits on
block it.
apps is actually a good one.
Limits on apps is good. I can't do it because I got to post morning and night. But I put like a limit of, I think it's 3 hours because I do a couple hours in the morning to post the videos and stuff. Now I may have a little scroll, but that's it, and then I'll switch it off.
Wait, do you
What?
have a little scroll?
Yeah, you got.
Working.
Yeah, so I'll post the video and then I comment on everyone's post and I comment and I like other people's just to create some engagement, and then I switch it off.
Community builder, this guy.
And then at lunchtime, I like to watch a bit of YouTube, so I'll watch some YouTube and then I'll switch it off. And then at nighttime, I'll post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then I'll switch it off. And then I'll journal and I'll read when I go to bed. That's it. So
That's it.
the
That's
limit.
also another thing as well. So talking back about like how we were born in the dark ages, the big phones, with the big phones. I remember that our downtime, or like I guess after school and
Oh, go to the
weekends.
park.
Yes.
Kick the ball around. Go on
play
the
with
swings.
boys. Oh my god. Life before was all about getting activity and getting outside. Whereas now I'm noticing that kids these days are all over TikTok doing these dances, and it's all about being cool on social media.
Yeah.
Which back then it was about having fun and being weird with a tutu running around a park. Like I feel like
There was no limits
wanna
there was no limits to activities before phones, and now there's limits to activities
by
because
the way,
of
that would have
phones.
blown up on social media. I should have recorded on my brick phone.
That's when everything started peaking on like YouTube and then Instagram came on and then
No,
Facebook.
there was like no. Oh, was it?
No, we were like just phasing into it because then the iPhone came out in 2004, 2006.
Oh wow.
The
Yeah, I
iPhone
guess we're
just
just
started.
too young to even
Realize.
have known about all that stuff at that time.
Like looking back on it now, around that, it may have been 2010. I think this like start of it happened, and then it just went,
Yeah.
and now we're here.
Just to answer as well, we're both born in '99.
Yep.
So
I was
if
the
that
last
gives you an
one.
answer of how old we were at certain time
Yeah.
areas and everything, I guess you can time match and
If you're bothered, if you're bothered.
if you're bothered time match and realize, oh, when was the big phones around and why were they using big phones in high school? Like that was us, I guess. So
Far out.
inner West Sydney,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it. So yeah, to wrap it up, we've talked about a lot. It's been
It's
Yeah,
been a
we've-
good podcast. I want the viewers to try and get in touch with us
Yeah.
in some way.
got any
Obviously,
questions?
Message us on our socials. Our Instagrams are always underneath these videos. And
So is our website. So if you're interested in some
website, I
personal
don't know if
training.
you'll have the website anyway.
Oh yeah, true. Whatever.
Either way,
Shoot us a
as
DM
we
on
said in the
Insta.
previous episode, until episode 20, no one's going to see these podcasts.
Yeah.
So between episode 1 and 20, this podcast is we're not going to really have much information to tell you about how you can contact us, but there will be information underneath these podcast videos that you can see and read.
We'll link everyone
and
that
I
we
guess
spoke about.
We'll post the first video as us explaining where they can get in contact with us and how they can actually ask us questions that we can answer in further podcasts as well.
I'll edit an intro in and an outro.
Done.
There we go.
Like the Joe Rogan podcast,
Yeah.
Evolv.
All right. Well,
that's good.
That's everything. So thank you very much for listening. If you have come this far, it's been an hour and 6 minutes. But yeah, thank you very much, and
We'll
we're
see
out.
you soon.
We're out.
Peace.